Okay, here's my second installment of Groovy shell for Goober. So catching up where we were last time, I've got a stock Goober deployment, Goober installer deployment with the sample data installed here, and I've updated. I made a copy of the Goober shell script so that it calls Groovy shell with the full Goober class path, rather than calling the current command line interface based on bean shell. So I made some progress, figured out how to get some of the Goober bootstrap code fired off in a Groovy shell profile, and got two of the commands mapped. So let me just kind of show you what that looks like first, and then I'll show you how that all is coming together. So I'm going to start the Groovy Goober shell like last time, but now you'll see that the Goober shell bootstrap stuff kind of happened automatically, and also created an implicit Goober session object for me, so I can do GS, and that's already started in there for my use. So I've got a couple things. So I've mapped two of the commands to Groovy functions. So I could do something like find subject harpo, and found it, and I could create an object like subject equals find subject harpo. That's cool. And I could then, of course, again, I have access to the API, so I could do something like get, that I want to get the source ID. And so we can see that that subject came from a JDBC connection. So that's cool. We've got one other method, which is get groups, and that's going to take a name. So maybe all students, and that returns a couple groups. I also have, again, still have access to all the Goober objects directly, so I can still call something like finder, group finder, find by name, and let's grab this name up here. Okay, so that errored out, and that's because I'm missing something on the method call. So let's add that. Now that we have command line editing, it's nice and easy to do. So this actually wants a Goober session object. And there we go. There's our group. And so like say I wanted to now actually make that an object, so that now I can call methods on that. Again, there's a million of them. Whatever, toString db. Okay, so that's working pretty cool. And again, I've got history and line editing and completion, and now two of these methods that I've mapped, these kind of convenience methods that. So let me show you how that all came together. So the first thing I've got is Groovy will create a directory in your home directory called .groovy, and there's a file called groovyshell.profile, which will be created, or you could create for yourself. And if we take a look at that, basically it's got one line in it, and it's loading this Goober shell.groovy, or if in Bash terminology, sourcing that file. So that's getting sourced on Groovy shell startup or boot up. So if we head over there, and I've got a little GitHub repo going, and if I take a look at the Groovy shell, Okay, so this looked familiar. This is some of the commands that I had started the last time, but now I've got it in a script. And so we're importing a bunch of Goober packages that we need for bootstrap. This is the kind of Goober bootstrap, which is mostly lifted from the Goober shell.java file. Not all of it, because some of it doesn't apply, and some of this stuff I'm not really sure how it's currently used yet, but things seem to be working, as it were. Some of the things like this I couldn't find anywhere in the source code where this is even used, and this was only used in one place. But anyway, this is bootstrap code that I've kind of lifted and put here, and you see the Goober startup. Oops, and yes, and this is where we get the implicit Goober session object. And then here's two of the commands, right? So in the current Goober project, these are standalone Java files and commands that are kind of integrated into kind of the bean shell system. But here we can just kind of define them as little snippets of Groovy code. And this one's pretty straightforward, but you can see here where we're actually making use of a number of the Goober objects, and so it's a little more, it's nice kind of making a kind of a convenience method for this in the way that the current Goober shell does. So you can imagine we could have a whole set of these that encapsulate convenient commands. Anyway, so that's working pretty good. And then I also have this GitHub repo if you're interested in trying this out or contributing to its evolution. And I'll put a link on that. You'll find up here on GitHub. Anyway, there's some instructions on how to get going. It's pretty straightforward, and really, I think if we can just start to expand, this script perhaps with some other capabilities, and try to do some updates. I haven't done any updates yet, so that's kind of maybe the next step, and see what else from the current Goober shell we could port over or execute, or see how that all comes together. Anyway, that's it for now. I'll catch you later. Bye.